Hey, Vinyl Community, Jeff back again. Time for another edition of The Perfect 10. Just a reminder, this is where I'm going through, borrowed this idea from Rick at Rick and Records a while back. I think I'm up to part 10 now, I believe. And I'm just pulling every 10th album in my collection until I have 10, showing you a perfect 10 for this one. This is, like I said, episode, I think, 10, if I'm not mistaken. I am into the M's. I believe I ended the last one with a Neil Morse cover album. I thought for sure, since that was one of the later in the series with all the Neil Morse stuff after that, since it was kind of a covers band, I thought I'd have another one. But believe it or not, when I got through to the next episode, next of 10, I had passed Neil Morse. I thought I had at least 10, but maybe not 10 on vinyl. I know I've got a lot of his stuff. So anyway, let's get into this. Basically, it is just looking at pulling random items, every 10th item, and you know, time to revisit stuff that maybe I haven't seen in a while, and you know, give them a spin or so. Maybe give you something to do today. All right, up first, Realm of the Skeletor by Mortification. Mortification is a Christian thrash, grindcore, metal, heavy death. Depends on the album. They have so many different styles, and in this is their 2015 second to the last album they've done. If you don't know the whole story with Steve Rowe, the vocalist and mainstay behind Mortification, and his whole health situation, and you know, you're not going to live for the next 2 days, and he's lived 20 years later, things like that. There's a whole story there. Check his book out, check his story. It's a pretty amazing story of what he's been through. And it has, you know, I don't think they're going to do any more records because he's finally, you know, I think retired from that. But they did this, and then they did like an EP that came out a couple years later. So yeah, he's pretty much done. But there you go. Some great stuff there. Oh, look at that. We still got at least 10. Blood World by Mortification also. This is their third album. They kind of changed pace. First album was very extreme, kind of a deathy type metal. The second album was the one that most people consider the high watermark, Scrolls of the Megaloth, and it was just really just almost like a perfect album. And this is the next one. Things were a little bit more polished here, a little bit different sounding. They've changed sounds periodically, so there you go. This is another Mortification there. All right, up next, Saints of Los Angeles by MotleyCrue. This was the last MotleyCrue album, right? They don't have any. They have some songs that they've released after this, but this was the last album, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure. I remember back when I bought this on vinyl, it was getting scarce, and I happened to score a copy for a great price. I was really thrilled at the time. I remember that. But yeah, so MotleyCrue's and it's a good album. It's a really good album. So I like it. I like it. Good stuff. Not sure they could do something like this now, but, you know, I don't know. Not sure if they have any plans for anything new. There you go, MotleyCrue. And look at that. 10 albums later is the first MotleyCrue. So, yeah, I'm one of those old enough people that bought this when it came out. I remember buying it based simply on the looks. Had no clue on the East Coast who this West Coast California band was, but knew from the looks of it that, you know, I wanted to check it out and loved it ever since. And then later bought a T-shirt from mail order from the band around this time, and I wore it to school, and nobody at school knew who they were except one kid. There was one kid who was up on this type of music. I mean, nobody knew who they were. This is way before they broke, before MTV started playing them to death. Great stuff. Love that album still to this day. All right, moving into the ends, Narnia. Just titled Narnia, even though this is probably like their 10th album or so. I forget it. This was, an album or two ago? Yeah, so a band just comes out many years into their career and says, hey, let's just name the band. Let's just name the album. Nothing. Self-titled. So, melodic, power metal, Swedish band. You know, exactly what you would think from a Swedish melodic power metal band. So, yeah, Narnia. Great band. All right, moving into NightRanger, Man in Motion. So, yeah, this was one of the ones when they were starting to... I mean, the band had, well, it's still the same lineup. This is not the Mojo one. This is actually got some good stuff. They got Man in Motion was the big hit, and yeah, I was starting to go a different direction because I was thinking the Mojo album. This is actually probably one of the last of the era, one of the last, you know, really good NightRanger albums. And then they, you know, kind of did some stuff after this before they came back a couple years ago with some even great stuff too. And they've been continuing on with some great releases over the past 10, 15 years or so. There you go, Man in Motion. This would have been like the late 80s, I guess, or is it early 90s? I cannot read it because it's kind of scratched up on the bottom, and my eyes are not great enough for that. So there you go. Ooh, okay. Obsession, Martial Law. The very first Obsession EP. I bought this back in the day. I just absolutely fell in love with this band. The funky imagery there. This was a time, I remember buying this and Manowar, All Men Play on 10 around the same time, and it was also like an EP single. And I remember just playing them to death. When I think of one band, I think of the other only because they both were just in-your-face, heavy stuff. I don't have anything else. I've had stuff by them on CD over the years, but I don't have any of the albums that follow this on vinyl. I would love to get them at one point, but to me, this was the only one I had back in the day. Never picked up anything else. So this is really the only one I was super familiar with for the longest time, and absolutely love this. Mike Viscara on vocals has been one of my favorite singers. Anything he's involved with is just been great. He did some time in Loudness. He has done stuff with Joe Stump, which was really great. He's a guitarist you may not be as familiar with. Just he's done a lot of different projects. There's been a lot of Obsession albums. Even later in the 2000s, he came back and did some stuff. But he's been in, he was in Malmsteen's band for a while. So yeah, he's just a great vocalist, and I just love it. Get my hands on anything he's done. But that's where it started for me. Was the first Obsession. All right, Office of Strategic Influence. I remember getting this not too terribly long ago because these were recently reissued on vinyl from Metal Blade Records. And I actually literally got a gift card the other day from Amazon last week and was looking at what to buy and almost picked up the second OSI album free, but I did not. But anyway, so OSI, if you're not familiar, this was kind of a little side project. It has Mike Portnoy on drums, Kevin from Dream Theater on singing and keyboards. It's kind of a reunion of those two, the former Dream Theater member. Anyway, so it's kind of like it's kind of hard to describe. I don't want to say industrial. It's not industrial, but it's got some sound clips and effects and lots of, I don't know. It's hard to describe. You have to check it out, but it's such a cool album. And then the second album, Mike Portnoy wasn't involved in that. The band kind of became a band and has went on to do a couple albums and along the same lines, in the same vein. But just some interesting stuff. Check it out. It's I don't know how active they are now, but these first couple albums have been reissued recently in the past year or two on vinyl. So there you go. All right, moving into the Ozzy. Ordinary Man. Now, I have one of the albums, which to me, I think there's been a pressing issue. People have said it. I didn't discover that there was an issue or really, really super notice it until it was too late to return this. But my copy of this, I mean, I think it's a great album. It's obviously a lot of processing involved here to make Ozzy sound like this now. And, the album that followed, same thing. But this is where it was really kind of noticeable that, the vocals and stuff. But my particular copy of this has this like thumping sound through, pretty audible at the silent parts, but kind of audible if you're paying attention, just in the background, like something's wrong. It's not so out of place that it's way distracting, but if you notice it, you're like, that's not right. But anyway, so one day I hear there are better editions, and I think I have a colored one, so I think, nope, I have a black one. I don't know why. I thought the colored ones were the ones that were having the problems. Anyway, still a good album. You just have to ignore that little beat whenever it's quiet enough. And 10 albums later, we are still in Ozzy. We are in Blizzard of Oz land. So I didn't discover Ozzy till Diary of a Madman. Then I went back and got Blizzard of Oz. But back in the day, this was around the time, right after this was around the time we discovered Ozzy. I mean, I was a little beyond the Black Sabbath days. By the time we discovered Black Sabbath, really in the early 80s, it would have been when Dio was stepping on board. We knew the classics. We knew Ozzy from the classics, but I can't say me or my friends at that time probably bought any or had any in our collection of Black Sabbath. So we weren't familiar with a lot of that. So when Ozzy went solo, whatever, we didn't know a whole lot. But then when Ozzy came out with this, but then later Blizzard of Oz, that's when it really caught our attention. So Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman, when Diary came out, that's when he really caught our attention. But these two albums were very pivotal back in the day when this happened. And then when he came along with Speak of the Devil, I'm pretty sure I saw that tour because I remember seeing Brad Gillis at the time with him, and so that's when we started seeing him in concert. I don't think I saw him in concert for the Diary tour. But anyway, there you go. There's 10. That's the 10th of that one. Little Ozzy there puts us in the O's. And that'll be it for this one. I'll be back with another one. Still got a long way to go. We're only about halfway there. Rock on and rock hard.